here. I want to thank you all for coming out here. This is the Safer Arizona headquarters. I'd like to, if you guys could please sign in, just let me know you're here and a contact information so I could sign you up for our blog if you're not already subscribed, and to contact you for further meetings and updates and stuff like that if we need you for any other volunteer action. So to kind of go over a little bit of history real quick, Safer Arizona has been working really hard, negotiating with the Marijuana Policy Project to try to get the freedoms we deserve in their ballot initiative. However, after working, the citizens have found that their initiative is substandard and we need to go ahead and do our own. When we first started Safer Arizona, 2013, we started with just 4 people, and we were able throughout the year to send out enough petitions to get about about 180,000 signatures. We needed to get 260, but we only got sent out enough to get about 180, and we only got about 5 to 7% back. Almost none of it came back. So one of our biggest flaws was tracking the petitions. That's where we need to really improve on this time. But this time we're not just starting with 4 people. This time we're starting with hundreds of people signed up as volunteers, thousands of followers. We have a facility here where we can have weekly meetings. We have other facilities he was just talking about. We've got businesses, Hempful Farms Cafe, where we can have routine meetings and events, stuff like that. Today I was just made the administrator of, what was the page called? I just freaking March Against Prohibition. That Facebook page is 134,000 likes on that page. And I was given the privilege to broadcast on that to help promote a huge protest march right before the election, October 2016. I'm trying to do a big march, and now's the time I'm starting to organize it. I'm trying to promote from that page, so I get to share our movement from that page and things that are going on around the country, which is pretty awesome. So a couple of goals. You have a question?
No, good news.
So
For sure.
because of a few different things going on within the Safe Arizona relationships, Michael Weiser is no longer our political director, and we're going to be restructuring. I have a couple of prospects for a new treasurer, a man named Tom that Dennis introduced me to. I also wanted to offer the opportunity to you, Stephen, if you were interested, but if not, we got that under control. We do need some help in a couple of areas. I just want to tell you about SaferArizona.com really quick. One of the things I'm really proud of that we were able to accomplish throughout the last campaign is we were able to get the Google juice for Arizona marijuana legalization. If you Google that, you will find SaferArizona.com normally before the MPP. My website gets about 10,000 hits every single month, about 200 a day without blogging. And so what I would like is people who are in the movement, who are doing their stuff, to use my website. I'll make you administrators to blog about your experiences, about what you're doing in the movement, to help keep that Google juice going, to help people funneling from the internet into SaferArizona.com. As far as you, like reblog stuff from your own website, so it'll funnel it to Safer, then back to your website.
For sure.
It just makes it easy to flow that way, and it'll give us a nice river. But what we need help with is getting people subscribed to our blog, which is on email list. So we're looking for people not only to collect signatures, but to collect email lists. Email lists are very important.
For sure.
So blog author, website, leadership. I'm looking for people who are, I got this forum, this WooFoo forum, woofoo.com, where you can build some free forms and embed it onto your website, and that's what I've been using to collect volunteers signing up over the last couple of years. And I've gotten a few hundred people sign up who want to be volunteers, and I need help coordinating them. I have a list. I can hand them off, and we can start calling them and getting them back into what we're doing here, and then utilizing that same format to help get more volunteers. I can go ahead and start that and do a volunteer campaign, and then get the volunteers being flooded your direction if you have any sort of plans to facilitate them and manage them. If you need help with that, we need to talk about it. But the way it's working right now is that when people sign up, it goes to legalize@SaferArizona.com. That email is split right now between myself, Tom Dean, Robert Clark. I think that's it right now. But I'm looking for more people who want to have a head role in this movement. I'm definitely going to add you to that. Legalize@SaferArizona.com. People send that to you. It's going to go to your area as well. Facebook page. Oh yeah, my Facebook page is about 6,000 likes on it. People, the way it works is kind of weird. You don't broadcast, it doesn't hit all 6,000 people. You hit like a percentage, and if it's hot, it starts getting more. But it's gone sometimes above the 6,000 mark. So I'm also looking for people who want to blog from, or post, not even just blog, just post information, education, but other people's website stuff as Safer Arizona Facebook page, and then the other social media, Instagram, Twitter, whatever. They got funny names. We got Instagram and Twitter. It's a Google Plus that I barely ever use, but Google Plus is cool because it gives you that Google juice in the search engine terms. So I am here with Safer Arizona as the chairman, and I am donating all of my assets that I can possibly to Jason's initiative as he sees fit. So this office, I'm looking for key holders. So I know Michael Weiser had a key. If you still have it, I'd like you did you already give it to Stephen? Stacy was interested in being a key holder, and I think Jason should be if he wants to, so he could use this if he's down here, but if he's going to be up in Phoenix, I don't know if that's going to be the best. We got to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the North Phoenix area in general, but, you know, I mean, obviously we love to coordinate things out here, you know, because there's just tons of people out here in the East Valley, you know, that prefer to meet out here, coordinate out here.
So what I'm going to try to do here is every Sunday I'll be here, and I'm going to be trying to have a meeting, and if we're not doing anything specific with petitions, which we should be real soon, I'm always going to be having some sort of maybe a social media class or something I can give some education to help out people who maybe need a little help in some areas that I'm better at in some ways. But I just wanted to show you guys real quick, even with people are searching MPP and they're finding my website, so I just wanted to point that out.
So did you say you're planning on giving an education class on collecting signatures for the petitions?
Right, that should be done here, and I'm also wanting to incorporate videos.
I was going to ask you, are you going to post a video?
Right, we should do as many videos as we possibly can. That's what we need to practice more on, is documentation, getting out there, taking pictures, posting it. When people on the internet see us being active, it motivates them to want to get active too. But when they don't see us doing anything, or even if you're out there and you're not taking pictures, people don't know you're doing stuff, so they don't want to. You're not getting motivated. I recommend taking lots of videos, lots of pictures. I do it. People think I'm a social media whore, but you know what? It's been working.
Yes, it has.
You're the king of that. I mean, nobody will dispute that. You're getting out there, man.
So I think I'm probably going to have some stuff to touch on later, individually and on a group basis. But now I'm going to hand it over to Jason. He's going to talk about his initiative, his plans, and what we're going from here.
All right, thanks, Dave. So the next step is we're going to meet with Tom Dean tomorrow, and we're going to finalize some of the language I was talking about earlier. If there's anything else that you guys want to put into this initiative that you think is missing, let us know. The only criteria is that it has to make sense. It has to still render the initiative passable to the majority. You know, I mean, anybody that knows me will tell you, you know, that I'm for the tomatoes initiative. You know, regulated like tomatoes, but it's not passable. So this is the best we can do. But with that said, we want to make sure that we have some strong legal language to prevent governmental abuse specifically. And obviously to protect the consumer, more so than anybody. So of course, if anybody's got anything that we need to put in, I know a lot of you have already reached out to me, and we've included a lot of these things. Like the retail license thing, we've lifted that to 1,600 retail licenses.
Oh, is that on, because I printed another copy today.
You haven't seen that copy yet.
Okay.
You haven't seen it.
I was
It hasn't been
looking
filed.
for it.
I haven't released anything to the public until it looks good.
Is there going to be a sample coming out?
Very soon. I'm all about transparency, 100%. So if we file it on Monday, tomorrow, then I'll release it on Monday. And I'll even post exactly what I changed from the last initiative to this initiative. It's not much.
So it's that close to being filed then?
Yes, absolutely. We're thinking Monday, Tuesday at the latest we'll file it. And then once we're sure that we've got the initiative looked at its very best.
Do you want that documented on film?
Well,
Filing of it?
sure. I mean, that's fine.
That would be great.
That would be great.
I say we make a document.
Like
I
Dave
think
was saying,
everybody
the more
feels
the merrier
they
with
can
Well,
make
that's
one
the thing,
document.
not to interrupt you.
Go for
I'm a
it.
filmmaker, I own a production company. If you guys want, I can set everybody up with a free Dropbox account. You take a video on your phone, as soon as you hit
Yes.
save, it goes in the cloud and uploads to your Dropbox. I get a notification, you just uploaded something, we share all the files, I give it to my editors, they take it in the editing bay and make it beautiful.
I second that motion.
Yeah, no.
Yay, thank you.
Quadruple
So
it,
that all look
definitely.
the same,
Oh,
and
that's gonna
consistent,
be huge.
and it's
Yeah.
not you standing there going, you know, okay, oh, no, not yet, no. And you're picking your butt or something out of video,
Sure, right.
you know. Those
I have
go on
some more-
YouTube and
Whatever likes
everything.
that.
I have some ideas, but not their soft tangent.
Yeah,
So, yeah, so everybody make sure you sign up with your email,
do it.
and I will give everybody a Dropbox account. you set it up on your phone, it's free, and as soon as you take a picture, as soon as you do anything, a video, it goes automatically to that Dropbox, you don't do anything.
This would be a documentary, aimed towards a documentary, or?
Aimed towards a documentary, and like Dave was saying, videos, if you're out
I
there.
mean, I
at a
who
protest,
knows where it could lead when you
video-
have that kind of.
Video it, take
Right, I
pictures.
mean, it could be so huge.
You know, you've got document, document,
Just
document.
if we encourage everybody, even when you're getting pulled over, and just anyone doing anything to coordinate one comprehensive picture to show how ambiguous it is, because every cop is treating every case differently right now. And that's directly from MPP's ambiguous initiative, Prop 203, and it's just made everybody a criminal, it's made every cop, you know, uneducated, there's
All
no
you have to do is follow
programs,
the rules.
just
I got
everything,
pulled
so
over
we
coming
can,
out of a dispensary.
oh my goodness.
So you just need
yes.
to email this for that Dropbox, mission?
Yes.
Okay.
Name, email, and phone number.
We got this, this
We
list
should
going
promote
around
that,
with
too.
emails, you guys could sign in here, pass it around, please.
I wonder if you could talk a little bit about some of the changes in the petition for things like felony, people, you know, have felonies and things like that,
The
just in general.
post-conviction relief stuff?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
okay.
If you can talk a little bit, can you remind us as to some of
Sure,
the-
so the language basically says that anybody that would be eligible for resentencing under the initiative that we've passed can file a motion with any court or, its superior court or local jurisdiction to have a motion for resentencing, and then they would be sentenced under the guidelines of what the penalties are in our initiative.
Okay.
Of course, they would have to apply under our guidelines. So somebody who possessed a pound would not be able to seek post-conviction
Sure,
relief,
sure.
but somebody who possessed 7 or 8 ounces
Sure.
would.
Yeah,
And again, we're gonna include a stipulation. With the original language that we wrote, it basically would have resulted in, if you had been convicted of, let's say, a class 6 felony and given a $1,500 fine, and then got resentenced pursuant to the language, the state would have only been able to impose a $500 fine with a class 3 misdemeanor, so they'd actually have to pay you the difference of what you overpaid. And that would come out of the general fund and the drug enforcement fund.
okay.
And so that would have been a huge topic, you know,
Yeah.
for the opposition to use against us, in the sense that
Yeah.
one of the, well, and also one of the main selling points of our initiative, and even MPP's initiative, is that it pays for itself. You know, we're using the medical marijuana fund money, and then that money is being paid
Yeah.
back to the fund. So we didn't want to include that language, but Tom tells me that we can have language that still allows for sentence modification, but we can explicitly say that the money doesn't have to be paid back. I know some people would argue, like, I want my money, and I hear you.
Yeah.
But we really can't afford to lose
Oh, yeah.
all those votes.
Sure.
You know, because realistically, I think even half of the marijuana supporters would be upset by that.
Yeah.
You know, obviously, that we're gonna bankrupt the state.
Yeah, yeah.
But we still want to be able to include post-conviction relief, because there are people who, you know, as Tom Dean points out, people are sentenced plenty because they have prior convictions, or, you know, there's some other aggregating factor. You know, they possessed a weapon alongside it. The weapon was possessed legally, but they also had too much marijuana.
So is there any differentiation for, let's say, if you're in jail under one of these preconditions? Like-
Yes,
So
yes.
there are-
So if you're in jail or prison, you could, of course, be eligible for the sentence modification, or if you're on probation.
Okay. Very good.
So people who've
Yeah.
been given crazy probation terms for marijuana offenses would also be eligible for
Yeah.
post.
So this is not only going for the 203 issues, but you're going for criminal background revamping on sentencing.
There's a separate.
Adult use, and yes, anybody who would be eligible to be sentenced differently under our initiative, but they were sentenced prior to our initiative, would be eligible for resentencing. So what we're basically saying is, we've
This is a two-vote
defelonized.
initiative.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely,
okay,
absolutely. But it still is, meets the single subject rule.
Yes.
In Arizona, they say that you have to have a single subject per the Constitution. This still meets that criteria because it pertains to marijuana offenses only. And all we're really saying is that if somebody would have been sentenced differently, that they can now be sentenced differently.
Cool.
Who's looked it over and given a legal opinion that it does fit the single
Tomorrow.
definition?
Okay, well, so we've sent it out to numerous people.
Not what lawyer, what constitutional
posted that
lawyer
on
this is
Facebook,
done.
yeah.
Well,
What
right.
did Michael
Deals
Weiss
with
say to you? What did he call you on his own account, and what did he tell you?
I said the initiative was great, right? I mean, numerous people have read the
He
initiative.
said he
not a
should
lawyer,
run
though.
for Congress as a bill writer, is what he
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
said.
so that's what I'm
He's
saying.
gonna
So,
tell you Tom Dean. And Tom Dean he's a well-versed lawyer in this subject. The most well-versed. He was Normal's lawyer for Washington DC, and is now the lawyer of record for Normal in Arizona. So we're just lucky to have him.
All right,
Is
Tom
Tom
Dean's
Moore
given an
on-
opinion that,
Tomorrow.
Tom Dean's always continue to work with us, even when we were working with MPP, you know, to draft that language, because frankly, I mean, anybody who reads our initiative and MPP's initiative would say, well, you know, some of this language is the same. And that's because, frankly, we contributed to MPP's initiative while they were drafting it. You know, and when I say we, I mean myself, Tom Dean, everybody, you know, really put in a piece. Billy Hayes, of course, put in, Jason Hine put in. I mean, a lot of people have put in, you know, bits and pieces into this initiative. And then certain pieces were just gone when they went and filed it. You know, even certain pieces that MPP told us that would be included, they just weren't. So to answer your question directly, lots of people contributed over the past months, but Tom Dean is working with us right now, and he's the one who's the attorney.
I
Billy
just
Hayes
know
is a
too many
CLDP, I think.
initiatives have been thrown out because
Sure.
they violated, and you talk to lay people, and you talk to a lot of lawyers that don't do that work, and they really don't have an idea
Right.
of what it means in terms of
He's
quality.
the best guy you could possibly get in the state.
All feedback has shown so far from everybody that that's the strongest point of our bill right now, how it was written. The follow-through approach, how it's written for the people, not for who, it benefits, you know, financially, and written by someone who is the smartest legal mind. All the lawyers respect him. If you were ever part of when the Prop 203 was going through, he was a consultant to almost every single attorney. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the AZAOD, but that was a huge hub. There was 5 or 6 attorneys that would come to that to educate themselves, feeding off of his objective information of just knowing laws, and so he has. So the strong point of our bill is how it was written, who it was written for, and that it's 100% transparent. And as you guys go forward here, you're gonna see that. I mean, he wrote this broke as a joke, and he's not. He told me he's not taking any salary regardless from anybody because money's not there, and he wants to set the example from down the thing to even lower, you know, signatures, the payment for signatures down from $3, what it was for the MPPs medical. You know, just get people more motivated knowing that this is a people's initiative. This is a chance. I say, you know, public networking, this is really a people's initiative. It's ready to get changed, totally transparent, and it's written for the people. It hasn't had something like that happen in a while, and I really think we can avoid the cost. We still need a lot of money, but we can avoid the cost because of that factor. We don't need to kid people. We just need to protect ourselves, keep up with, obviously, the propaganda of the opposition, and initially just make sure we bring MPP and expose them, don't you think, so we can get all on the same page? Number one, we should all be on the same page.
Now, since the election is done, is Tom Horn now our friend? Could he be?
Tom Horn, former Attorney General?
Yeah.
I don't think so, based on any conversations that we had, that we paid for to talk with Will Humble back in 2010. Representative Ben Miranda actually was a good friend of ours. He's now deceased, but he helped us really get an in with the state of Arizona back in 2010 when we passed this initiative, the medical initiative, that is. And so we kind of got a feel for who was friendly and who wasn't. And for the most part, we had the idea that Tom Horn wasn't. He actively sought to shut down the compassion clubs. And we talked to him numerous times, and his logic is basically like, maybe you're right, but we just don't like marijuana. And, it was just that.
I'm doing videos for his new law firm now,
Oh, okay.
because he's out in private practice now.
So are you suggesting maybe he is friendly?
Well,
I mean,
Gave him
I'd
an
love to hear it.
investment spiel last
I
week.
had this in my
People change.
pocket.
Tom Horn, right?
I had this in my pocket, my vape pen. And I went to bend over to plug in the light and it jammed me in the leg. I took it out of my pocket, put it up on his desk, and he looked at it, he said, "Is that one of them e-cigarettes?" And I chuckled and I said, "Yeah, that's what it is." And he goes, "Oh, that's one of them Jimmy Kimmel e-cigarettes." And I went, "Yeah." He says, "Does it help?" I said, "Yeah, it does, Tom." And we talked for about a half hour. I think somebody might wanna talk to him again.
Yeah, I mean,
He's not in office
he
anymore.
could change. I mean, he could have changed.
I
the
gave
public.
him an investment spiel
Yeah, exactly.
Tuesday. So he was in there. He was surprised that someone, in front of Edward Jones people, he was in the audience.
Well, every week he has wine and cheese parties at his new law firm. I've been to 2.
What about Goldwater's?
Yeah, I mean, these are all good ideas. I mean, we haven't heard anything from them.
Approach their
No.
headquarters or anything like that?
No.
I mean,
Recently, with this
Well, the
initiative,
Goldwaters would be down with it for sure.
Ben Miranda's wife, Catherine Miranda, actually took Ben's seat, and so she's a state representative. She's reached out to us, and this actually speaks to what you were saying. She supports the initiative. Also, Mark Cardenas, also representative, also supports the initiative. And beyond that, we can submit the initiative, and have submit the initiative, to the Legislative Council for them to review it. So the legislature will review all of the language that we filed and tell us if we've messed anything up. And they review it from their perspective as if they were writing the law themselves. So they are articulate with making sure that all of the legal language is proper. But we feel that it is anyway. Again, a lot of the language, because it is mirrored from MPP's language, MPP's reviewed it too. So anything that's in MPP's language that's also in ours has been reviewed by both. Hi, Rand. And anything that we've added is being reviewed by the Legislative Council. So we're pretty sure that it's gonna be solid. And that's obviously, trying to stay humble and, not say that we're good at what we're doing.
Can it get locked, Jason, in the review process?
What's that?
Can it get locked in any way during the review process?
By the Legislative Council?
By anybody?
The governor?
No, it can't be blocked. It's literally just them reviewing it, just as if I were handing over to you and having you, proofread it for me. They just, again, the significance of submitting it to them is that they read it from their perspective.
Review for intent, to match intent.
Right, and to prevent situations where the law simply just doesn't make sense, or we've illegally tried to amend an existing statute or something along those lines. This language actually, of course, as you know, just adds all new language.
Right.
So obviously we're not too concerned that we're going to be amending any statutes illegally.
Did you get rid of the commissions?
We left the marijuana commission, but the commission is not able to manage or control the medical marijuana program in our initiative. Which is obviously, that's huge. And that's actually, I think the second point. Our initiative is not, does not allow the Department of Marijuana Licenses and Control to manage the medical marijuana program regulations.
They're going around.
So they can't do whatever they want to those,
destroying medical
because that's what they would do, obviously. I mean, Ray, you said it. I mean, we can anticipate,
Well,
we can
they
guess,
basically
and say,
said
well, maybe they
marijuana.
would, maybe they wouldn't. And I can acknowledge that it is up in the air.
When there's a distinction.
But I think it's more likely than not.
Yeah, look at what they've done over the last 20 years.
When one's legal and one's medical.
It wouldn't be good. And truthfully, I mean, from a different standpoint, I think having the medical program regulated by a health department is perfectly reasonable. I don't see anything wrong with that. So, I wish they would have done a better job drafting regulations, but sure. Yeah.
I just wondered if you running into any issues where, like, if the initiative passes, I guess it could also be presumed that the MPP's initiative will also pass, so that both languages will be effective.
Right,
So
so-
where would the issues come up?
So the law says that if both initiatives pass, that whichever initiative has enough more votes should supersede the other one in any conflicting language. That's not to say that either initiative is completely null and void. Rather, if there's conflicting language, the one with the most votes, that would take precedent. So, obviously what that means is, from our perspective, even in the situation you described where both initiatives pass, I'm finding that 8 out of 10 marijuana smokers that I'm hanging out with and smoking pot with are saying that they want our initiative and not MPPs. Frankly, even the ones that aren't, but have medical marijuana cards, know that they got screwed on the medical program and they know who wrote that initiative.
Like,
So they're
Costs
automatically like,
$150 to get
and-
your card from the state as well.
yeah, and then, 'cause, right,
We're
and
the
then-
highest in the nation.
to,
for
grow
cards.
12 plants but possess 2.5 ounces, right?
Yeah,
And so
how does
anybody
that
who
work?
cultivated marijuana instantly knew, like, wait, that just doesn't make any damn sense, right? And so obviously, like, there's a lot of distrust for MPP because of that. So again, going back to the original point, though, I think we're gonna get the majority of the votes, even if it comes to that situation. I'll even take a step further. I'll be surprised if MPPs passes.
Yeah, would they
If
debate
it does, it's gonna be because uneducated voters didn't know which one to.
Well, we should really educate everyone to
That's-
vote both. Because you don't wanna have a sleeping.
Or we have to figure out a way to
enemy
really
there,
differentiate our initiative. So we
You gotta
talked about,
stand out.
we're gonna,
Stand
right,
out.
we have to stand out.
Right.
Public service
The-
announcements.
most people just
Somebody
read the
was talking
summary.
about.
right? So we've tried to differentiate the summary in the sense that we've included the word legalization, which MPP refuses to use, and we've also capitalized the word legalization, so it just jumps out at you as soon as you're reading the petition.
What do they use in place? Or they just?
It's not a legalization, so-
Regulation and taxation of marijuana? Right, right, and ours is legalization and regulation.
Good.
Right,
That's a good
right.
change of focus.
Say since we're gonna legalize it.
Right, right, and that's the goal, right, I mean, at least I thought.
I
You
think
brought
one
up
huge
one point about PSAs, and I wanna point out that a PSA, public service announcement, if you can find a 501c3 to hang your shingle on, you can get free airtime on any network in the country.
You know, I was just,
It's an initiative to be voted on by the people. You're educating the people, the public service announcement. You're not saying, we're better, they suck.
so right.
You
Right.
just, you have to keep it to the facts, nothing but the facts, Joe Friday, you know?
Right.
Which is the best thing.
501
From what I actually should, I actually should say before I go into this, that I am actually not an expert on campaign finance law.
Maybe
I'm what's called a CLDP trainee, which means I'm a certified licensed document preparer, but I haven't been a paralegal for long enough to get the license. So I can pass the test, but I haven't, okay. So, with that being said, I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is, you know, I'm not really sure what I'm trying to say to you right now. You know, but, all right, I'm sorry about that, I'm kind of.
I call him senior
But
mom.
That's a very
video,
positive
the
point.
point of the video
is,
is so strong, I can't stress that enough, yeah, it's my business, that's what I
Right.
do for a living. But I cannot stress that in this time and age,
That's,
video.
right,
The
right.
most people, the easiest amount of effort.
Everybody's
I
got-
got famous from the grasshopper.
You know, the MPP, when they came out with the initial legislation, at the first proposal of it, at the first meeting, and at the normal meetings, when they really told everybody, the final draft we do, this is just to kind of appease both sides, the final draft will be so much more on your side, so much more open, we'll include this, we'll include that, we'll include this. Well, they stopped a lot of people like ourselves from continuing our initiative to even battle them, because they thought, good, we'll be all on your team. But when it finally came through, everybody stopped their competition to MPP, so they really thought they had to clean no competition. They came out with the most arrogant legislation ever, right, Jason? So we have a huge advantage. If they ever want to debate, if they ever want to be transparent, transparency is the key. And I think that's where, you know, the gentleman that just left is the huge, that's what we need, networking with transparency, certain questions that they won't answer.
They have media.
You know, right? So it's beautiful, because now they set themselves up for, they didn't know this was gonna happen. They had no idea. This came from just, seriously, just two people kind of saying,
Plus they get funding.
let's do it.